St. Paul wrote that there are three virtues that keep us united to God through this life: faith, hope, and charity. Hope, specifically, is trust grounded in a relationship with God the Father. Pope Benedict said that hope sets us apart as Christians because we believe that there is a future. He wrote, "It is not that Christians know the detail of what awaits them, but they know in general terms that their life will not end in emptiness." We can see this life of hope played out in the suffering and the spiritual awakening of a 19th century slave girl from the Sudan called St. Josephine Bakhita. Josephine was kidnapped from her family at 9 years old. Her young body was beaten until it bled. She was sold 5 times in the markets to different masters and bore 144 scars on her flesh. Finally, she was bought by an Italian family and brought back to Venice to be a nanny. She came to learn that there was a master above all those cruel masters that had once owned and mistreated her. While bringing the child that she was in charge of to catechism classes, Josephine's hope expanded, and she became baptized and confirmed herself. Not wishing to be separated from the Heavenly Master, God the Father, she joined the Daughters of Charity religious order for the next 50 years of her life. In the Gospel, Jesus said, "No one can serve 2 masters. He will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other." When he speaks of masters, Jesus is asking us to acknowledge the fact that something or someone consumes our energies. Is it wealth, health, possessions, sports, power, pleasure, or popularity? Let's be honest. Everyone has something of ultimate importance and priority. Jesus is asking us to make God, and God alone, that focus. Then all other concerns will fall into place. For St. Josephine, her hopeful encounter with the Heavenly Master overshadowed the sufferings of slavery. Thus, in her embrace of God as Father, she truly became free. In the first reading, Israel was exiled from the Promised Land and complained that it feels abandoned by God. Then the prophet Isaiah comforts the nation of Israel, saying even if a mother could forget her child, God cannot. In other words, God's love and awareness of us surpasses our wildest dreams and imagination. With this image of God, we better understand Jesus' message in the gospel about not worrying about our daily needs. Jesus is not naive about the human need for food, clothing, shelter, and material support, for he experienced these needs also. Nor does he advocate doing nothing to meet our daily needs. His question between God and mammon, or wealth, is about setting one's priorities by trusting in the parenting and providence of God as Father. He begins by reminding us that God gave us life. Therefore, we can trust him to give us food to sustain that life. And if God gave us bodies, surely we can trust him to clothe these bodies. Jesus points first to lesser creations, such as birds and flowers. Birds obviously scavenge for food as much as we do, perhaps even more. The point is, birds do not obsessively worry, nor attempt to pile up goods for an unforeseen future, and yet their lives go on. Even wildflowers, which are neither planted nor watered, are clothed with a beauty which surpasses the beautiful robes of kings. If God gives such beauty to short-lived flowers and provides for birds, how much more will he care for us, the crown jewel of his creation? Jesus goes on to say that obsessive worrying cannot add a single moment to our life. Worry is essentially distrust that God is a loving parent, and worry dims the virtue of hope. We overcome worrying by seeking the kingdom of God first, and all other things in our life will start to fall in place. It's kind of like pulling the right string on a knit sweater. All the threads begin to tighten. St. Clement of Alexandria said, "If you do not hope, you will never find what is beyond your hope." Hope is not based in human achievement or strength, but solely in the power of God. Hope says that we must trust God as Master to provide opportunities for us to procure what we need, as he did for St. Josephine, who sought God for faith and freedom. This is why St. Augustine said, God is not a deceiver, that he should offer to support us, and then, when we lean upon him, should slip away from us.